Hi, how are you? I am doing relationships in the 5D. For those of you who are dealing with relationships and you're almost sure that it's a 5D relationship and you want to delve into it, you want to see what's really going on for you on a personal level, you can hit me up by sending me a message here on YouTube, or you can reach me at info@wooingnature.life, okay? If you'd like to schedule an appointment. But what I'm doing today is I am using my Vortex cards. Vortex is about getting into the vortex, getting into relationships. And I'm going to pull one card from this deck to kind of give us an overview. And then I am going to pull two cards, one for the masculine and one for the feminine, from Carolyn Mace's archetype cards. And then I'm going to follow up with the Sun and Moon Tarot. The Sun and Moon Tarot, because we're dealing with masculine and feminine, I've been told to focus on those two. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with how you identify in terms of your gender. You just have to understand the masculine and the masculine and the feminine roles when you're dealing with partnerships, one-on-one partnerships. This could be a romantic relationship. It could be partnerships with any significant other, meaning it could be a parent, it could be a child. For those of you who are watching, it could be a boss. It just depends, or your manager, your supervisor, somebody that you are working closely with in your work situation. But we're talking about one-on-one relationships. I'm pulling two cards from Carolyn Mace. One is the feminine, and then the second one is the masculine archetypes. And then what we're going to do is look at these two archetypes and see how they're relating to each other, and we'll pull the tarot to get into the detail. So the first card from the vortex says, "The thoughts I think determine the relationship I attract." The thoughts I think are the relationships that I attract, okay? Not only does the power of your thought determine which people make their way into your life, and this is going to be significant when I show you what these two archetypes are. Excuse me. Not only does the power of your thought determine which people make their way into your life, but it determines how they behave once they get there. You are the thinking, vibrating attractor of your experience. And the thoughts you think determine everything about the life you live. As you turn your attention toward the positive aspects of the personalities and the behaviors of others with whom you share your planet, you will train your point of attraction in the direction of only what you desire. Woo! There's a lot in that, okay? And so the two cards, I had to show you these. In the feminine, we have the Judge, and in the masculine, we have the Thief. Now, both of these came up in the upright with the Carolyn Mace cards. If they come in reverse, then I read the shadow attributes. If they come in the upright, then I read the light attributes. So both of these are coming in as light attributes. But I think it's just interesting that we have a Judge in the feminine and we have a Thief in the masculine. So somebody is thieving and somebody is judging it. So the Judge is balancing justice and compassion, managing the fair distribution of power. Okay? So in this case, the person who is acting in the feminine principle is balancing justice and compassion, that which is fair with that which is of a compassionate nature. They are managing the fair distribution of power. So the Judge is saying, hey, how is the power being distributed, and is that fair? The thief, also in the light attribute, we don't usually think of thieves being in the light. We think of them as being in the dark. But in the light attribute, the thief sheds light on the potential wealth within you that can never be stolen. So we have one person who is operating as the judge, balancing justice, distributing the power. And the masculine in this case is shedding light on the potential value or wealth within the partnership and also within themselves and also within their partner that can never be stolen, that can never be taken away. So this is how this person is showing up for some of you. I've already shuffled these, so now we're just waiting for them to reveal themselves. All right, so the first card out is the Death card in reverse. So what this means is that there is something that has to die in order for something else to give rise. And for some reason, this may be stuck. This may not be happening. Maybe the person isn't ready to actually let that part die in them. Or maybe there's something in the relationship between the two that has to die in order for new life to happen. Again, if I go back to this vortex card where it's talking about vibrating, your vibration, attracting a certain type of individual to you. If there is something in you that has to go in order for you to vibrate at a different frequency, then you have to get in touch with that. You have to get clear about that. You don't want to be hanging on to something that is unnecessary to hang on to in either case. This is particularly important for the judge in this case because sometimes when we're in the position to determine what the power structure is, then you can't have power struggles. Power struggles are ego. And so to me, when I see this death in reverse, and we're talking about power within the dynamic of the relationship, then to me, the thing that I automatically think about is the ego, the death of the ego. And in order for you to have a death of an ego, then it is important that you know where your potential wealth and your value is, because sometimes the ego knows its own value, but if it is not being valued, then the ego can then become aggrandized. Okay, that's what we're trying to stay away from. So the Eight of Wands, somebody is putting some energy out. Somebody is saying something, or they could be on the defensive. Okay, I'm seeing that they feel like they're being attacked. It could be the thief in this case that feels like they're being attacked by the judge, or maybe the judge feels attacked. I don't know. You'll have to think about that within yourself. But you have to think about what you're putting out there and how you are addressing this person. Okay. So if the masculine in the relationship is the thief, then the judge may be judging the thief for what they are taking or what they feel like they're stealing or robbing from them. Maybe you feel like you're that they are in some way taking their personal power. Maybe the judge feels like if there isn't a fair distribution of power, then they feel put upon, or they feel like somebody is taking something of value from them. But in this case, the thief is not taking anything from you. What they're doing is shedding light on the thing that can't be taken. Okay? So it's not about what they are taking, it's about shedding light on what can't be taken from you. All right, we have the Queen of Swords. This came up in the last reading. Again, I'm going to put that in the feminine space because that Queen of Swords is no joke. This is somebody who you can't pull the wool over their eyes. This is somebody who is probably a very good judge of character. This is somebody who knows how to get past the obvious, especially if they're judge oriented, that they're a good judge of character. So they're able to see past the mask. They're able to get past the masks. We have the moon card in the upright in this particular reading, which means that this is the Queen of Swords that's doing that. The feminine is very active right now. So this judge person is able to kind of see through the darkness. They're trying to see, or they may be seeing this thief's dark side. But the dark side is really actually not what's showing up in this reading. It's the light side. So you got to pay attention to your wealth, feminine. You got to be able to see, what is this person, when you think that this person is trying to rob you of your power, you have to think about, what is it in you that can never be stolen, that can never be taken from you. Okay? We have a Seven of Pentacles in reverse. The Seven of Pentacles in this case is about understanding your concentric circles. You have your space, judge. Okay? You have your circle. This is your circle of trust. This is your sphere of influence, right? Your partner, this thief that's trying to show you your worth, also has their circle, but your circles have coincided with each other because there's a common theme or a common thread or a common goal or a common, what do I want to say? We're talking about the 5D. There's a common attribute that you all need to see together. Again, we're talking about relationships in the 5D. They don't look like the way they do before. So in this situation, I'm seeing very clearly that this person, this feminine person that's operating in the feminine, probably does not see how this person has any real value to them. And in fact, this person is probably judging harshly what this person is coming to them with, because you're nothing more than, you're just a taker, is what they're saying. But there is something spiritual between you. This is the Seven of Pentacles that has to reveal itself in the flesh, in the physical. There's something very significant there. It has to do with the perception of success and failure. Okay? The perception of what is correct versus incorrect. The perception of what this person is bringing to the table. You don't think they're bringing anything to the table. You think, judge, that the person is taking everything from the table, when in actuality, the person is showing you your true value. You all feel like this relationship is a disaster, okay? I don't know why I feel like this is somebody's work situation, okay? We have the Three of Wands. Three of Wands means that somebody is juggling a lot. They have a lot on their plate. They're trying to figure out all the things to do. I feel like this is the thief person. This person has a lot of things on their plate. You don't know this yet. They're being very assertive and a bit very aggressive. They're actually taking up a position that is more, in other words, the feminine would be perceived as being in the position of power in this case. In this case, the feminine would be seen as the one that is correct or right in this situation. But in actuality, it is the other person who is really helping you to understand value and virtue and what it is to truly be, I'm going to say, a virtuous woman. Okay. The Three of Wands also is the departure. So when we talk about the Three of Wands, we're talking about getting from point A to point B. And so in this situation where you feel like, I don't know how I ended up with this jerk, right? The thief, you one have to realize that you vibrated that person into your cipher for a specific reason, and that specific reason has to do with you understanding what success looks like, what failure looks like, and then also what virtue, what is a virtuous being, what do they do, how do they act, how do they behave. You needed this person in your life to teach you this. So this other person looks to be a king of swords, and I'm going to put him in reverse. Queen. I need my bell. Slow down. The King of Pentacles in reverse is your masculine in this case. This King of Pentacles in reverse wants to be in a better financial position. Okay. They're trying to not have to juggle so many different, I don't know, this person may have 2 or 3 jobs. This person may be trying to balance a number of different, like I'm seeing that they have a lot of fires that they have to put out, and so um they may be presenting as selfish. They may be presenting as um, self-centered. They may be presenting as um, somebody who is, I keep getting aggressive in this particular case, but in actuality, this persona is a mask for the fact that this person doesn't feel very secure in their own physical environment. It could be that they don't feel secure at the job. It could be that they don't feel secure at home, but they're not really feeling stable, and they're not really feeling safe, and they're not feeling grounded in their environment, but yet they are required to be in a position of leadership. Now, I don't know if this is the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Swords. If this is depending on what it is, I don't know if this is your partner. I don't know if this is your boss. I keep feeling like this is at work for some reason. For some of you, I feel like this is work. Maybe this thief is your boss. Maybe this is just somebody who you work with that is presenting like they're the boss and really they're not, which is why it is upon you, the feminine, to impress upon the masculine that there is a fair distribution of power. You don't feel like they're being fair. Okay? And you feel like they're robbing you of your self-respect. The Tower is in reverse, which tells me that there is some kind of implosion. And when we have towers in the upright, it's like something that just stops whatever it is that you're doing. It could be a sudden event. It could be a decision that somebody makes that kind of changes the course of action. But when you have the tower in reverse, to me, it's like there is a tearing down of something on the inside. Again, we have the death in reverse. And sometimes when we have towers that aren't handled, like we aren't allowing the breakdown to happen, sometimes we're so busy trying to hold our position that we don't let the position go so that the real lesson and the real medicine can come in. Sometimes we're looking at the thing that really isn't important. And what's important for you, Judge, is to see that this thief person, this King of Pentacles in reverse, has their own set of has their own set of insecurities that they're operating with. and that probably don't have anything to do with you, that may be causing them to react and behave in this way, but their reactions and their behaviors are pointing back to you that which cannot be taken. And once you see that, once you are fully aware of that, then you will probably see this person as less of a threat or less of a problem to you. The Two of Pentacles is about balance. This person needs to be in balance. Both of you need to be in balance. You have to see yourselves as aspects of the other. The judge is to the thief what the thief is to the judge. When you're in a court case, the judge has a ruling over the thief, right? The thief comes to the edge. They said, please either guilty or not guilty, whatever it is. I didn't do it. I didn't rob this guy, whatever. You hear the evidence on the robbery and you make a decision. So in this case, the feminine is in the position to make a decision, right? The masculine is there to teach the feminine an important value set. And so when you see this as your experience, as this little cross, see where you have the infinity, and this is you and this is him, or whatever the case may be. But when you are able to see the value of this relationship and why you have vibrated this person into your being in both ways, and that goes both ways, then you will see the divine balance. And the divine balance is what's going to push you to the next thing. And we have the magician. The magician to me is about is the alchemy. And this is an alchemical process, the two of you together. It is alchemical in nature. It's about being able to take energy to transform energy. This is a transformation card. Death and Rebirth is a transformation card. Tower is a transformation card. So, that is the alchemy of the judge and the thief. If you resonate with this reading, if you know exactly who I'm talking about, if this describes your dynamic, utilize some of the things that the cards are suggesting and let me know how it goes. Let me know what your process is and share with others what your experience is by putting comments in comments below, because there are probably several people that can benefit from what you have to share. Okay? As always, I hope you all have a beautiful day and I hope you're having a fabulous life.